Hello again. I have returned from the depths of hell. I had a challenging week, to say the least. I feel as if only 3 brain cells remain in my skull, and all 3 of them are on fire. Or, well, they were when I woke up. Now they are just smoldering ruin. I had to write a certain science paper on a subject of my choosing. I found sources, had notes, everything was ready to go. As I was writing, I found out that I need more damn sources. And I did found them. Something like 10 books, each over 300 pages long. So I had a lot of fun speed reading and speed writing at the same time. I managed to finish the damn paper 30 minutes before midnight on Sunday. And I'm writing this on Monday. I'm telling you, the history of relations between media and American military is absolutely bonkers. The amount of stuff that went down between World War I and today? Holy duck. And you might think that I speak in hyperbole, but I'm not. I'm actually somewhat educated historian. I know a bit about history, a little bit more than an average person. And I'm telling you, some things I found out when researching and writing that paper are absolutely insane. And that this was going on for over a century now. I mean, I actually managed to somewhat comprehend the process of how classic war propaganda evolved into modern military entertainment complex. It actually opened my eyes to some facts, like I didn't know that Iron Man got support from the Department of Defense, nor that it's part of a wider trend of tech fetishism. But when you look at the movie with all this new data, suddenly a lot of scenes get double or even a triple meaning. I apologize. I'm mumbling again. For now at least, I'm done with this kind of work and I should be fine for a time. I think. You know, this moment of peace reminds me of what my uncle once said. When everything is going well and there are no problems on the horizon, I sit down in my rocking chair in the living room, drink a nice hot cup of tea and wonder, what will go wrong this time? Anyway, we have a new line of homebrews to go through. I would like to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, the whole shtick. You know what to do. For new entries to Homebrews, the list is still expanding and you can add to it. Just post in comments under the Gimme Your Homebrews video. Under this video, I would like to see your comments regarding the new entries. Today we will go through another 4 entries, half of which are for Coalition, so this should be fun. Let us begin. The first on the list is The Cohort of Eleven by Martin Concetti 5057. The name means Cohort of 11, as Eleven means 11 in Spanish. This homebrew is really fun. A large goat beastman regiment, their hive, which name has been stricken from the records, rose in chaos-infused rebellion against the Imperium. These beastmen, living in the underhive, surprisingly remained loyal to the God Emperor. Mostly due to insane fanaticism of a certain half-mad priest known as He-Goat, that managed to inspire true faith and dedication to the God Emperor into them, telling them that their ancestors were cursed with mutated flesh by dark powers because of their strong faith. The God Emperor allowed for that abhorrent mutation to test their faith, and now they had a chance to prove their purity of soul to the Imperium and the Emperor. After they die, the Emperor will burn away their mutation and allow them to be reborn as pure humans and stand by his side in the glorious afterlife. This group of zealot mutants created the only coherent resistance unit against Chaos Insurrection. A force of Crimson Dragons landed on the planet, receiving great aid from the Beastmen and ensuring that much of Astartes' resources and assets didn't suffer damage or casualties, thanks to their sacrifice. Unfortunately, the Astartes arrived too late. The hive was lost to chaos corruption and minor demons started appearing in the city. It was determined that it would be better for the hive to burn than allow this corruption to spread to other cities. The Crimson Dragons evacuated their allies before the hive was eradicated from orbit. After, they managed to sabotage Hive's void shields with the help of the Beastmen. Astartes vouched for Beastmen, speaking of their courage, readiness to sacrifice themselves, and surprising genetic stability, petitioning Administratum to recognize them as a new strain of Abhumans. With overwhelming evidence, Administratum agreed to do that on one condition. The Beastmen were to raise a singular guard regiment and accomplish victory in 11 campaigns. The Mad Priest was given temporary command of a regiment alongside delegated Commissar Major. If the regiment succeeds in those 11 campaigns, they will not only be recognized as new strain of Abhumans, but also given their own world to settle and call their own. The Goat Beastmen took up the challenge and created surprisingly competent regiment. They specialize in urban warfare and are fans on unorthodox military tactics, ambushes, and explosives. They are barely tolerated by other regiments. Only pristine record, priests of a God Emperor, and a few very vigilant commissars ensure that the stays of other regiments is limited to taunts and curses rather than a pogrom. To surprise of many who had hoped that Beastmen would be wiped out in one of the battles, they managed to succeed in 10 major deployments, proving their loyalty and skill 10 times over. Soon they will be deployed in their 11th campaign. And it's a good thing as well, because New Crusade just been called and is in need of soldiers. It will be during the Damocles Gulf Crusade that the fate of those beastmen will be decided. Will they find a new home? Or will they fall before the might of Tauva Coalition? I'm not going to lie, I love them as a concept. A small side note. I know that they look how they look, but you must know that when you ask AI for a goatman beastman, the AI is quite literal and give too much of a goat and too little of a man. So I think that despite their almost demonic look, this image fits the goat beastman from an Underhive quite well. Next on the list is first Xeno entry, Tauva Scalebound, by So Year Rambo 5763. Finally, a Xenos unit. An auxiliary irregular force made mostly of Tarelians and Tannin units. They use mix of weapons, equipment, vehicles, and even beasts native to their homeworlds. They are commanded by aging Domati general, Sun Yi. He is one experienced danger noodle. He took part in the brutal 8th Coalition War against chaos-corrupted Helios Empire, formed from an isolated Imperial Helios subsector that fell to forces of chaos. He also took an active role in campaign to save the Keshi cluster in 451st year Millennium 41. He has over 3.5 centuries of military experience and is widely respected. He has an honor guard made of elite units of Guevesa and a pair of Tannin psychers who he both personally trained in psychic arts. The Scalebound is made of volunteers who flock from every corner of a coalition. They are well trained and surprisingly elite unit, despite their irregular and mixed equipment. Currently, their base of operations is on a terraformed moon of San Tao that is located between Kai Tao and Huax systems. This moon stands as their main base of operations for the last decade. In the past, Scalebound operated further south near the Beast's Eye anomaly, or closer to territories of vicious Arakan. They relocated after Sun Yi had a vision of upcoming devastation that would fall upon the coalition. As such, for the past decade, the Scalebound were biding their time and growing in number, becoming something of a semi-independent army allied to the coalition. The formation uses mostly teal markings, as well as dragon's eyes and Tarelian totemic imagery. Scalebound have their own naval assets, mostly thanks to backers in Austin Sea Council, with whom Sun Yi have very close relations. The fleet is mostly composed of transports and older military vessels, as well as modified merchant ships. Similarly, their ground vehicles are a total mix, both in terms of specialization, origins, and age. In short, Scalebound are an irregular formation of mechanized infantry taking a role of paradoxical foreign religion or complex mercenary company that operates within coalition borders. I think I will be able to neatly integrate them into Damocles Gulf Crusade rewrite story. Going back to the Imperium, we have Heyutan Hell Harvesters by Hayden Lumpkin 2822. This viewer created a few other homebrews, all of them very well thought out, but I decided to go with the first one, as I think their theme is just properly grimdark. So, Heyutan Hell Harvesters are mechanized heavy infantry and heavy artillery regiments specialized in area denial and chemical warfare. They come from an agri-world that has very close ties to local forge worlds. In fact, Mage's biologists like to test their new strains of plants and pesticide on their world. Hell Harvesters are equipped with Lucius pattern lasguns and flamers. Chemical flamers, to be precise, that use more than just mix of promethium, but also pesticide and other chemical weapons designed to destroy crops and all other types of life. They usually ride into battle inside a salamander or chimera APCs. They also deploy modified hellhounds and bane wolves that use a similar mix of promethium and pesticides. The Hell Harvesters are recruited from unmarried sons that aren't required in food production, which usually means third and fourth sons serve in the guard. Their position in the regiment is determined by planetary Neo-Kaijut exam, where higher grades ensure higher position in the regiment. They have a negative reputation among other regiments and administratum due to their weaponry. They can cause poisoning or even death of other regiments, as well as cause significant damage to the ecosystem of the world. As such, only few regiments can safely deploy onto the same battlefield. On the other hand, the High Command respects their dedication in extermination of enemies of the Imperium. They are usually deployed on the worlds which need to be sieged, with Hell Harvesters ensuring eradication of food supplies and poisoning of water supply of enemy forces. Entire worlds of minor Xenos and traitors were starved out during the grueling campaigns. Hordes of orcs and heretics witnessed how tropical jungles were transformed into sludge, which stopped them in their tracks, only to be burned by advancing mechanized columns of Hell Harvesters, their corpses crushed beneath rubber boots of advancing infantry. It is noted that Death Corps of Krieg enjoy deployments with Hell Harvesters, and both regiments have high opinion towards one another. Their war cry is "Burn the taint, cleanse the land, let no root remain." To say that this one might become a fan favorite is an understatement. They have a proper 40k theme and fit nicely into the madness of this universe. And they are bros with gasmaskers, so that's a neat as well. Now, last for today, but for sure not least, AG Reintegration Task Force. Another creation of So Year Rambo 5763 that caught my attention. Firstly, I must apologize for changing the name of your creation. The Agri Ubri just sounds silly to me, and it sounds very close to Agri Bri, so I've changed it. I think that Agri sounds similar to word agree, and this is Integration Task Force, so that fits. This task force is relatively new creation of a Watercast. While Watercast is more than experienced with dealing with integration of new species into the coalition proper, former worlds of the Imperium turned out to be more problematic than expected. The xenophobia on those worlds means that direct interaction between the Tau and the population is unwise. Even if they manage to convince the ruling class of a given world about the advantages of following the greater good, the masses usually aren't as receptive. Their faith in the martyr god on the golden throne too ingrained into their psyche. So, the task of transformation of those former imperial worlds into something that approaches coalition standards falls to Tau allies, mostly in form of Abhuman, Mutant, and Gwevesa loyal to the coalition. Cadres composed of Gwevesa and Shalt take the responsibility of training planet's militia so that they could be integrated into the coalition military, as well as shore up the world's defensibility in general. In secret, the same forces determine the weak links in the planet defenses, as well as planned coalition loyalists in the military, in case local rulers changed their mind and tried to betray coalition's trust. Insectoid Evor Hive provide labor, increasing growth of all industries on the world, providing cheap labor and advanced coalition technology. Evor princes and princesses are responsible for making the world and its population reliant on coalition's technology and means of production, as well as establish future industrial centers. The same goes for infrastructure that is built and maintained by coalition, ensuring greater control and influence over the world population and their rulers. Gwevesa and Abhumans, especially Mechians, serve in administrative, naval, and diplomatic roles, with Mechians taking dominant position in the last decade, running the overall operation. They are ears and eyes of the Tau on the ground. They coordinate both warriors and builders, ensuring that the coalition establishes full control over the world. Intermarriage with the local population is encouraged, with hopes of laying the groundwork for a new ruling caste, made of coalition-allied half-breeds and systematic weakening of imperial cult. This operation is already ongoing on multiple worlds and will become one of the most commonly used by the coalition in the future. Now this homebrew I like a lot, because it fits with my vision of more subtle and a bit more insidious way of how coalition expands. Plans that are decades, generations in the making. Small step after small step. You can accuse Tau of many things, but not of lack of patience. And that's about it. Those are homebrews for today. I will be working on the next video in the line, the next episode of the Damocles Gulf Crusade rewrite. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and ring-ding that bell. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed. Now, my dear viewers and listeners, remember, wherever you are, whatever you do, try to enjoy yourself while you can. I wish you most heretical day. Ta-ta!